The world stopped as every screen, every device, every holographic projector flickered to life. No warning. No explanation. Just a faceless broadcast. A cold, metallic voice, devoid of emotion, filled the air. This is your lesson. 50,000 Americans stood on a massive execution platform. Bound, heads covered, bodies trembling. Soldiers, civilians, politicians, doctors, no distinction. The Galactic Empire had taken them as prisoners of war, and now they would serve as an example. No trial. No plea. Only silence. Then, with mechanical precision, the platform beneath them dropped. Necks snapped. Bodies twitched. A grotesque symphony of death played out in perfect synchrony. 50,000 lives extinguished in an instant. The broadcast didn't cut away. No theatrics. No triumphant declaration. Just an unflinching display of horror. Cities fell silent. Streets filled with frozen spectators, some screaming, others sobbing, others too numb to react. Government scrambled, military leaders shouted orders. Yet no one could undo what had just been done. Michael Graves, general of the U.S. Army, stood in the Pentagon's war room, his knuckles white as he gripped the table. His officers, his staff, the president's top advisors. None could tear their eyes from the screen. Then, the final words came. Submit, or suffer. And the transmission cut to black. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then the room erupted. We need to open diplomatic channels. They just killed 50,000 of our people, and you're talking about negotiations. This is an act of war. Graves didn't speak. He turned, walked to the main screen, and played the execution again. No one objected. They needed to see it. Needed to feel it. When it ended, he faced them. His voice was iron. We are coming for them. The president's national security advisor hesitated. General. Graves slammed his fist on the table. No committees. No waiting. They think they can break us. They think fear will keep us in line. His voice dropped, cold as steel. They have no idea who they just fucked with. The war room was divided. Some called for restraint, others for immediate retaliation. General Graves listened, arms crossed, eyes locked on the darkened screen where the execution had played. The word still echoed, submit, or suffer. He had no intention of submitting. They are daring us to act, one advisor warned. If we attack, they'll escalate. They already escalated, Graves shot back. 50,000 dead. This is not a negotiation. This is an extermination order. The president's chief of staff leaned forward. We don't have the fleet to take them head on. You know that. Graves did know that. The Galactic Empire's navy dwarfed anything Earth could muster. Their weapons were more advanced. Their technology centuries ahead. But wars weren't won by technology alone. He exhaled. We hit them first. Hard. Before they expect it. The Joint Chiefs shifted uncomfortably. A full-scale assault. No, Graves said. Not yet. We don't fight their war. We fight ours. Silence. Then, a quiet voice from the intelligence director. Covert operation. Graves nodded. We take out the station they used for the execution. We make sure they understand. We are not prey. The room was still tense, but something shifted. A sense of purpose. The president's defense secretary hesitated. If we do this, there's no turning back. There was never any turning back, Graves said. They made sure of that. A slow, grim acceptance settled over the table. The president's message came through minutes later. One sentence. Make them pay. The stealth ships moved in silence, cloaked against the Empire's sensors. No fanfare. No grand speeches. Just cold, calculated vengeance. A team of elite operatives, hardened by war and grief, infiltrated the station. They had watched the execution. Some had lost family. None needed motivation. The plan was simple: get in, sabotage critical systems, leave nothing standing. They had 20 minutes. Moving like ghosts through the corridors, they bypassed security, neutralized guards with swift, lethal efficiency. The Galactic Empire, arrogant in its superiority, had grown complacent. They did not expect humans to strike back. The team reached the control center. One operative, a former engineer, hacked into the station's broadcast system. Another planted explosives along the structural supports. They had one final message to send. A distorted figure appeared on every Empire screen, voice altered but unmistakably human. You wanted submission. Instead, you have war. Explosions tore through the station, ripping it apart from within. The execution site, the Empire's symbol of fear, collapsed into fire and debris. The operatives exfiltrated as alarms blared across the system. Enemy ships scrambled, but they were too slow. The humans were already gone. The Galactic Empire had broadcast their power. Now, humanity had broadcast their defiance. The Empire responded exactly as Graves predicted. Within hours, their fleets mobilized. Earth was no longer just a rebellious planet, it was a threat that needed to be crushed. A massive armada jumped into the Sol system, expecting compliance, expecting fear. They found neither. Earth's defenses were ready. Not through sheer firepower, but through strategy. The Empire's war doctrine relied on overwhelming force, direct assaults. Humanity fought differently. As the Empire's ships moved into position, they found themselves caught in a web of electronic warfare. Their communications scrambled. Their targeting systems jammed. They were blind. Then, the ambush hit. Stealth squadrons emerged from hidden positions on the moon, launching precise strikes at key capital ships. Missiles tore through command centers. Railguns shredded hulls. The Empire's formation crumbled. Their superior numbers meant nothing if they couldn't coordinate. And then came the final blow. Graves had kept Earth's main fleet hidden behind Mars, waiting for the perfect moment. When the enemy was in full disarray, they struck like a hammer. The first battle of the war lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Empire's flagship was a burning wreck drifting toward Jupiter. The survivors fled, their invincible armada shattered. Graves watched from the command deck of his carrier, arms folded. The war was just beginning, but humanity had sent its message loud and clear. They would never submit.